Free Radio Armageddon. Kind of talking about my grand trip to Atlanta and doing the Crusade tournaments. Part of that is, kind of finishing the models out. For example, here, funny enough, this old out of print Games Workshop foam case is freaking amazing for holding foam. Speaking of foam, what we got over here, my battle pack that I'm taking to Atlanta. This is Battle Foam's Go Bag with little Molly accessories on it. You can put foam there, but it's way better for accessories. Then here is my Colts. All in progress Colts. Probably should set that up before it's open. Funny enough, without the tank turret, it doesn't quite fit in the nice little foam. You got whoosh here. So I'm bringing 3 Orbital Dawns. Yes, please don't hate me. I don't know. I just love this tank. It's like a tank's tank. It's reminds me of like that movie Fury, pretty much any World War II movie. Like it's a live-on tank. You can have extras. You can play around with it. Part of playing around with it is ordering bits and playing around with that, rather than having a dude with manning the gunner. I thought it would be kind of funny to have a guy leaping off with 2 knives. Kind of to deal that more cult nature to it. Funny enough, also have some custom design. These here for it. Getting them commission painted, so kind of takes the load off. Kind of gives me anxiety. My style of painting is kind of like, I don't know, I'm better we're getting stoned and just throwing paint on the model. So actually having to follow a tutorial and make that uniform golden shape, because they are, an alien species, so they kind of have like a unique color scheme, and it's not going to be unique in a sense because it's a pattern of somebody else, but it's unique because there's not very many green bugs. It's part of one of the reasons why I did the Project Nihilum. Probably actually out of tax. Matthew, how to pronounce it. It's probably one of those potato things. And it's sitting in camera all the time. Part of the fun for me to have this little case is because it goes everywhere. Basically, on the pack. It's cards, has little pouch extras. When this thing is no foam or anything in here, it is FAA compatible line. Perfect little carry-on. Gonna be my carry-on plan. Need to see if my other pack is gonna work. But also at the same time, I have it set up that I'm not too worried if it goes as luggage. It looks like luggage. That would be the pack system traveler bag.
Yeah, don't send it through luggage. They'll toss it.
That's the beauty of it. It's the foam. It will cushion it and give it love. Unlike a magnet case where the magnets can
They'd go everywhere and shatter.
Well, no, the magnets stay put. It's the gene sealer leg on the thing goes wee. Now I know it's no longer attached to the model, but it's kind of like that Scouts thing where back in the day where did you do this where you had the egg toss? It was like this almost like a science experiment.
No, I'm old. I came before the egg. So we tossed dinosaurs.
No, it was a fun thing that we did in Scouts. It was you wrapped up eggs, and they dropped them out of a helicopter or plane, depending on who they got to do this. Most of the time it was a plane because the farmer was just down the street.
They can't fly yet, right?
No, that's the beauty of it. They didn't fly; they fell.
Yeah.
And because
I saw
they were
that episode
cushioned,
of WKRP.
And because they were cushioned, whoever's eggs survived the most. I thought it was a big flex to get like a dozen eggs Because everybody was doing 1 or 2 eggs and getting it to drop, and hey, and I'm just like, watch this. I got a dozen to land safely.
Secret is to boil that mother for like 8 minutes.
No, that's the thing is they also check them afterwards. And they checked rather than randomly, because it's like every now and then. I mean, if you do just a single egg, they don't
I
check.
wouldn't let them. The sex is survivor. You're gonna bust it. No, I mean,
No, and
someone's
you get
coming home and being lunched.
if you get 3 or more, they test a random egg, or they also do the spinning check.
Oh, it's random egg testing.
I mean,
It's random and sporadic.
you got to make sure you're not using performance enhancing, drugs, things like that. I love the fact that my phone still is making little happy faces things at me. You should really see it on the side. It's really cute. When it detects a face, it does it, but it reminding you to smile. The old Games Workshop had games days. And in the games days, it was kind of like a tournament / convention thing going on. And they made a big deal about it. Like, you had this Games Workshop store. I mean, it was a tournament, but it was more than a tournament because they actually had other things extra. I mean, they kind of are bringing that back with the Open, Warhammer Open. So kind of similar vibe, which I kind of find fun, kind of reminiscing about, the journey to Atlanta. But in that, there was a gaming store, Ouroboros, and I want to say it was Redmond. Yeah, the snake thing. Can't remember the guy's name for the life of me, but kind of local legend. Well, no. The guy that owned this gaming store, not the actual Greek mythology. I think it's Greek, right? Or is it Roman?
It's Greek.
It's all Greek to me, right? But he in this gaming store, everybody there decided to bring Tyranids. And so it was very impressive, and it was like this huge thing. And that's kind of what we're doing in Atlanta, is bringing a huge swarm. They actually inspired the next year, a whole bunch of people decided to bring drop pods. So there was like 8 people at the tournament that all had drop pods. And it was like something that people barely played 1 or 2 of at the time. Because I was like, I want to say 4th edition, 3rd edition.
You have to be Tyranids.
I mean, just enough that it was new. But for the life of me, and that said, it doesn't really matter. I always thought it would be funny to kind of reminisce and bring that back. Kind of like the huge, like, the old idea of where, the posse is in town, right? Like everybody walks in with the same jacket, and you're like, holy shit, there's a fucking dozen guys all wearing the same jacket. It's kind of impressive. Like, even if, and being able to shape the feature of Warhammer lore, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring the Ample. It's a little fun thing back in Rogue Trader. They finally released a model for Black Fortress.
I've never obviously heard of an amp.
Are you being sarcastic, or have you never heard of an amp?
No, I'm trying to do the math. Were you born when amps were a thing?
Yes, I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And the reason why I know that is I actually bought the metal fucking figure.
Oh, that's legit. You can't.
And on the bottom it says the copyright is 1987.
Nice.
So yes, I was 5 years old.
Wow, that's impressive. That's very cool.
Now the new plastic model, kind of bringing it to a tournament, and that's the funny part about the thing is I actually commissioned painted the Rogue Trader Ample for Hellstorm Wargaming, which is a channel I mod for. Kind of where I'm kind of getting general ideas of being able to do this myself for some reason. I don't having help obviously, but kind of building on that thing of somebody actually took it to a tournament. And it wasn't technically legal because it's not a term that allows legacy units, which kind of is a bad word. But that's also part of the reason why I really love the grand narrative. Not only is it encouraging like fans to use units that they're normally not supposed to, because people practicing for a tournament at the gaming store at any time. You got to be ready. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Firstborn Jim, right? And so in that regards, people don't play it for fun anymore, or they do, but like to me, the old Rogue Trader third edition, like it was more about the story rather than getting reps in for they're treating it almost like a gym.
The whole point that plasma weapons explode is because losing is supposed to be fun.
Well, that's one of the reasons why one of my first armies was Skaven. I just love the fact that they just blew themselves up half the time. And also part of the reason why I really liked the Warhammer lore, because we were able to change it. Like, End Times was kind of like meh. Um, you know, Funny enough, the actual Storm of Chaos ending was an orc sucker punching the villain. That's it. Like the city was saved because an orc came up and went, "Hey, you're the big bad guy, right? Yeah, you ain't so tough," and then walked away. So it was just like, so the fact that we actually added more, and the fact that we're talking about Skaven and the freaking ambulances outside, I kind of find very comical.
Well, a camel is a horse designed by Blade. That's why you get a.
That's actually one of the reasons why I actually excelled for me. I thought it would be funny as a Skaven, player, because you got two choices. You get to sign up for Order or Chaos. That was like your choice, and I'm just like, Chaos doesn't respect us rats. Why am I joining with them? I'm going to join Order and help them out. And that was actually part of the reason why we were so successful, because we were including them in the storyline as well.
Yeah, well, I think
there was a guy that
themselves when they say that they are not a Chaos faction.
They are now, but they were never respected as such.
Well,
which is why we had,
nobody respected Nurgle until about 2005 when those Horse Heresy books, Eisenstein, came out.
Yeah, the whole zombie thing kind of does freak people out.
Skaven are totally chaos. They're fucking. They're beasts.
Well, we did the Project Doomsphere, and they actually Games Workshop used that as kind of the fluff and narrative. I think inspiration for. Sorry guys, we kind of are responsible for nuking the old world. Because in the official storyline, the Skaven do the fluff thing, and we're actually responsible for blowing up the world. And how it became a Age of Sigmar, because as the universe started to unfold, Sigmar made some grand alliance with a giant space dragon to fold it back together or something. It's been a while since I've read some of the books, but they took it from fantasy to like, what's that D&D setting? Spelljammer kind of this vibe to it, like high as fuck fantasy, which is great because have you seen some of the models they produced lately? Those things are fucking
with magic missiles.
I mean, the fucking music they got from just starting over, like Age of Sigmar has some of the fucking most beautiful models next to Necromunda.
Do you like Space Marines?
I mean, I do like Space Marines, but to me that was more because it was the cookie cutter. It was the easiest thing as a model to get into. It's arm, body. Like, I actually thought some of the Dark Elder was cool, but just everything was brittle, and the fact that, I kind of, when I got back into the hobby a second time, I had a kid. So kind of going back to the Dark Angels to me felt more natural than starting something else. Even though I played Dark Angels very few back in third edition.
They're the best.
I love the fact that because I was a poor kid. Like I wasn't technically a college student, but
poor kid with an amble.
Actually, I didn't fell in love with amble until later.
Nobody appreciates things, when we have them.
Well, that's the beauty of it is I think they actually bring more of it into the lore. Well, I mean, that's also some of the more interesting things about 40K that you see new people get into it, and they're just like, wait, what the weird angel baby cherubs? What's up with that?
It's a parody of old Renaissance paintings, so that's why they have to be there. But they're also
Well,
badass.
yeah, but it's dead children that they animate because they can use their brains and body functions because they're not technically computers, and therefore not AI. So they use basically everything. It's almost like a hunter, where they use the antlers, they use the skin, they even render the fat to use it for stuff like, um, very much Soylent Green, because isn't corpse starch like a very thing in the Imperium?
You're probably right.
I mean, and only the people in the high class hives actually eat real food. Everybody else kind of this weird granola bar that's nutritional value.
I think that more than half the Imperium have a very nice, idyllic, peasant, hobbit-like life, and that they have real meat and real food, and live on agri worlds, and not hive cities.
Well, you are also commissar, so you probably were, kind of like the ignorant bastard of the cop world in the 40K universe. Or I'd be like a hive scum ganger or something.
I think you made a very good point. The green skin, the orcs, when you mentioned them knocking out the big baddie at the end times, their job has really been, to maintain the status quo of the world. And it was always going to be either the Skaven or the dwarves who blew it up.
Well, that's kind of the whole reason why it also appeals to me for the grand narrative is the guy that's our NPC, Lord of War, is a orc. And so thinking of the lore wise of how Tyranids would work with greenskins, and kind of like the running theory that we've kind of thought would be super funny to do is some orc mech thought it would be hilarious and thought it up to build a giant bug zappa. This giant thing that they build in space, and it attracts the Tyranids, and if they get too close to it, it zaps them.
What's the biggest model you could fit in the bag?
It really depends on the foam. So this is what, like, I think 12 by 17 or some shit. So it holds 3 royal bombs,
Do you
as
have
well as the 20 gene sealers. Like I can have another, I think like 1.5 inch foam here, but it's very much better for this, to be like, putting stuff like this in there. Very much like for your personal effects, like your white door, having your model kit. Amazing little thing. It also has.
It's really good
the
with
back.
the emergency glue bottle because that always happens.
This is actually my main one. I've actually been falling more and more in love with it when I've been working with it. It works good with prime models as well as clipped. I more often will use plastic cement, but to me, carrying around plastic cement is kind of like the cap comes loose, like.
And then it's going to eat that plastic.
Yeah, he's gonna make a big mess if it gets leaked. Whereas glue just makes things gluey.
Plastic cement.
But see, the trick is, you notice something about this?
That's hexy.
No, it has a almost protective case, so it's not gonna get knocked.
It's not going to get crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this is actually. I don't know if you can kind of see the silhouettes, but you can actually. It's intended for that purpose. It's in a weird fucking shape, and I have no idea what these peg things are.
No, that makes a lot of sense, especially with like a soft tube of glue.
Yeah. I almost wish you could 3D print me a lid or something. Because in order to make sure it doesn't get loose in my case, I've been using this, which kind of is like a perfect little thing to make sure that these two match the same thickness.
Fits.
I mean, if it works, why change it? But it's like,
Are you going to use you have a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a star?
oh yeah, that's actually a point. I probably should make sure I'm putting it. Yeah, I'm storing it correctly. Um, it is glue, but at the same time, like,
No, I mean for the back.
what?
Thumbs up or thumbs down, or do you have a
No,
star?
this one doesn't have any places for morale patches. That's for the other one.
I mean, do you recommend the back?
Oh yes. This one is very nice. It's to me, there's certain things about it that I wish I could change. But it is definitely the great go-to bag. It would be the one I recommend most out of the line that they have. Mostly just because of this extra little thing here, like personal effects. Like the other bags don't really have room for your personal stuff, and you're going to be bringing. I mean, it's a backpack. You don't want to be bringing two backpacks, so you don't want to be like, here's my models, here's my stuff. You can have your models and your stuff together. You know, Granted, this is super easy to just toss on top of anything foam, but like it's gonna get damaged and things like that.
Hey, 30 more seconds if you want to wrap up.
Um, yeah, this is Radio Armageddon signing off. Yeah.
That's a good special effect.